Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see the current affairs of 8th January 2022. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 7 topics which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see some brief introduction regarding the topics. Now we are going to have our discussion. So first topic it is regarding forest restoration in this net zero race. So already you know about what is this net zero or carbon neutrality. So India mainly pledged that we are going to achieve this net zero by 2070. So in this race to achieve this net zero, we need to focus on this forest restoration. So if you're talking about this forest restoration, whenever we are leaving this local communities outside this, then we can't achieve our target. So this article mainly focusing on role of this local communities in this forest restoration. So this article is important from our environment and ecology, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. And next topic it is about one important development regarding this economically weaker sections quota of 10%, that is Supreme Court permits NEET counseling under present OBC and EWS quota. So this is important from our polity, and this is the one development that we can see regarding this EWS quota, which is in news from last 10 days. And next topic it is regarding NSO estimates financial year 2022 GDP growth, and it is at 9.2%. It is regarding this GDP estimates by this NSO. So here we are going to see what is this article talking about and some relevant facts regarding this NSO, which is important from our economy, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. And next topic regarding FCRA. So it is also one development regarding this FCRA Act. So already we discussed about this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, right? So now there is one important development. So we are going to discuss that. So this will be important regarding our polity point of view. And next topic it is about India-China military talks. So since May 2020 onwards, we are seeing standoff across this LAC region. So since then, we are having number of talks between India and China, but they didn't result full disengagement in this LAC region. And now we are going to have talks on January 12th. So this is some important thing, and it is also one development. So this article it is important from international relations, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic it is about poaching. Okay. So there is rampant poaching in Odisha, which mainly indicates massive network in operation. So in Odisha there is a rampant poaching that is seen, and it mainly reveals that there is a huge network that is behind this operation. So this article will be important from environment and ecology, which mainly comes under our GS paper 3. And next topic it is about economy. It is regarding India to surpass Japan as Asia's second largest economy by 2030. So this article says that by 2030, India will be the second largest economy in Asia. By 2030, India it is going to occupy the second place. So this will be important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So these are the list of the topics. Now we are going to have our discussion. So now let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see first topic. So first topic title says that the Bedtime of forest restoration in the net zero race. So first we need to know about what is this carbon neutrality or net zero. So what is this net zero? Net zero, it is nothing like emitting of zero emissions, but how much amount of carbon dioxide emission which is released is equal to amount of carbon dioxide which is absorbed. So this is called as net neutrality. And actually you know that in recent COP26 Conference of Parties 26, we came up with one commitment. Our Prime Minister announced that we are going to achieve this target of net zero or carbon neutrality by 2070. And number of countries like USA, China, they had their carbon neutrality or net neutrality, net zero emissions. And China said that it is going to achieve by 2060, and some other countries said that they are going to achieve by 2050. So different countries having different different targets. So if you are talking about especially in India, in India we came up with an announcement of we are going to achieve this net zero or carbon neutrality by 2070. So when we want to achieve this carbon neutrality, that means we need to absorb how much amount of carbon dioxide that is released into atmosphere is equal to amount of carbon dioxide absorbed. So which are these carbon absorbers? For example, plants, and as well as we are having some carbon absorbers like oceans. So we can't go for increasing of size of oceans, right? So the choice which we have here is we need to increase plants, or we need to go for coming up with of technology that will mainly absorb this carbon dioxide. But whenever we want to go for this technology, that will be huge cost, and sometimes it is not sustainable as well. So because of this, we can go for this afforestation or forest restoration. Is very easy than competitor of any other technology, and they are also most efficient as well. So this article which is mainly says that in this carbon absorption, or when we want to achieve this carbon neutrality or net zero target by 2070, so we need to focus on even the local communities. Local communities participation is very important regarding this forest restoration. So without this local communities participation, we can't achieve our target. So this is the thing, and this is the some idea regarding this topic. And now let's talk about this topic in a very great detail. So author mainly says that India mainly came up with a pledge to achieve this net zero or carbon neutrality by 2070 at this COP26 summit that held recently in this Glasgow, okay, in the month of November. So this COP26 meeting mainly held in this Glasgow, and in that summit our India mainly announced that we are going to achieve this carbon neutrality by 2070. Okay. So here, because of this, when we want to achieve our target of this carbon neutrality by 2070 or net zero by 2070, so we need to focus, okay, we need to focus on some important mechanism that mainly mitigate the challenges of this climate change. So this thing we need to mainly address or mitigate the challenges of this climate change. So that already highlighted by United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and as well as REDD plus, that is reducing emissions on deforestation and forest degradation, along with some sustainable management of forest, and we need to focus on conservation as well as enhancement of forest carbon stocks as well. So these are some important things which are already highlighted about. We need to mitigate the challenges of this climate change. And if you are talking about some details of study, so in a study by this Griscom in 2017, it is one of the important study which mainly focused on natural climate solutions. It also studied about even forest, because these forests are the natural carbon sequestrars, or we can say like absorbers. And we already know that this study mainly says that about 37% of emission reduction, and whenever there is 37% of emission reduction is happening, so this will be helpful for decreasing of global temperature below this 2 degrees centigrade. So this is a study which mainly said by this Grimson. It is mainly based on climate solutions, that is national climate solutions regarding this forest. And one more research data which mainly says that natural regeneration model of restoration over the existing much hyped mode of tree planting such as forest, they mainly said to secure nearly 32% of carbon storage, and that will lead to 1%, okay, as per one report like IPCC. So IPCC report, that is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, it mainly says that so forests are very much helpful for carbon storage. About 32% of carbon storage that can be stored in forest. Okay, and if you're talking about continued degradation, especially in case of India, so though India is said to have increased its forest cover by 15,000 square kilometers in last 6 years. So in last 6 years, government of India says that we have increased about 15,000 square kilometers of forest. Okay, but on other side we can see there is disintegration or degradation that is happening. Okay, degradation of existing forest already happening here. So as per State of Forest Report 1989, so the country had about 2,57,409 square kilometers, that is about 7.83% of geographical area, which mainly it is under open forest category. and has density of 10% to less than 40%. So this report mainly says that from last 30 years onwards, there is increasing of forest to 3,04,499 square kilometers. On an average yearly, we can see 1.57 lakh hectares of forest are degraded. Okay, on one side it says that there is increasing of forest, but on another side in reality we can say there is disintegration or degradation of forest that mainly seen here. So these degradation which mainly highlights presence of anthropogenic pressures because of encroachment, because of grazing, because of fire. Okay, so because of all these things there is mainly degradation which is mainly happening. So not only that, so much of this forest area which also diverted actually. So about 1.5 million hectares of forest since 1980 they were diverted for developmental activities. Okay, so because of this we mainly lost about 1.548 million hectares of forest to encroachers. Okay, so because of this we can see there will be the integrate a link between the poverty and as well as unemployment. And India, it is one of the important country which is mainly witnessing a large scale of disintegration of forests and as well as deforestation. If you are talking about the terms of engagement, so India made its attempt in 1990s, and India made an attempt mainly to involve or to engage local communities, and their participation is necessary mainly for protecting and as well as managing forest. Okay, and as well as to restore these wastelands. Okay, so here the local communities plays an important role. So here you can add about one important topic that will comes under your NCERT when you are reading those NCERTs. It is Chipko movement. Okay, Chipko movement is also like hugging of trees. Whenever some poachers they are coming and they want to cut down the trees, so these local people they mainly went for hugging of trees. So this is one of the famous movement, okay, that you will come across when you are reading your NCERTs. You can also add this Chipko movement here as well. Okay, so later the concepts of this forest development agencies was introduced to consolidate the efforts of autonomous model, and that mainly paved the way for fund flow from various other resources to joint management committees. So what happened? So later on we also came up with this forest developmental agencies, and they want to consolidate some efforts. Okay, and they mainly paved a way for various other sources. Okay, and they came up with different committees as well. So finally they came up with this participatory approach. Okay, in this participatory approach, nearly 1.18 lakh forest management committees, they are managing over 25 million hectares of forest area now. So most of these become very much active, and as well as they become very much operative while implementing the various projects as well. Actually these projects are mainly funded by World Bank and as well as Overseas Economic Cooperation Fund Japan, and even Department for International Development UK and European Union. So they mainly came up with the funding such that we came up with operation of different agencies, such that about 25 million hectares of forest area is under conservation, and as well as it is under management of different managing committees. And next one is, if you're talking about this completion of this project period, and there is also lack of subsequent funding which mainly affected their functionality. Okay, so there is no proper funding, and as well as there is no proper support regarding this participation of local communities, and as well as they also associate with some NGOs, non-governmental organization, etc. here. So if you're talking about one scheme, that is except this National Mission for Green India, and even some other centrally sponsored schemes like Project Tiger, the fire management, integrated development of wildfire habitats, and even CAMPA, so they mainly lacked some priority, and they did not have proper policy support to ensure the participation of these local communities. Okay, so this is one important thing. So because of this there is no proper participation of these local communities. They also mainly caused that decline in their effectiveness of those schemes. And next one is, if you are talking about changed role now, so the role of local institutions of panchayats or some joint forest management committees, they are now restricted to just consultative institutions. Okay, so actually earlier they were planners and as well as implementers, but now they are just became as a consultative institutions. So it led to further disruption of a link or harmony between these forest departments and as well as communities, and that led to endangering of this protected forest. And next one is, so this is one of the most relevant while taking up of restoration activities, including for example tree planting outside the designated forest areas, where the motivation and as well as encouragement of stakeholders will be very much crucial. So when you want to go for this restoration activities, so we need to ensure that local communities are participating. Okay, there is a proper harmony between these forest officials and as well as this implementers. Okay, and we need to focus on proper funding will be available. Okay, proper support will be available. So as we committed in this Glasgow that we are going to achieve this carbon neutrality by 2070, so we need to focus especially on this restoration of those forests. And if you are talking about one state model which mainly given as a case study here is Telangana model. So to achieve this net zero targets, we need to revisit our already existing legal and as well as some policy mechanisms. So this article says that when we want to achieve our our targets, we need to focus on our legal and as well as we need to recover or we need to revisit our policy mechanisms, and finally we need to incentivize the local communities. We need to focus on ensuring of proper fund flow, and as well as we need to focus on restoration interventions. Okay, and we need to focus on adequate participation of local people in planning and implementation through local institutions as well. So in this way here we need to go for a priority which should be given, okay, especially for policy interventions. So for example, if you're talking about Telangana state government, which came up with some policy interventions like amending of panchayat and as well as municipal acts, especially for environmental concerns, and later on it mainly came up with creating of a special fund, for example a green fund or Telangana Harita Nidhi, and this fund which is mainly useful for planting of plants, okay, for tree planting. And it also came up with this Miyawaki type of afforestation. This is the Japan model that is mainly implemented in urban areas, right? And here in this way we need to come up with some policies that will mainly supported by financial and as well as institutional support mechanisms, and there is a need of proper negotiations as well. Further, it will lead to some incentivizing of these local communities to boost some efforts regarding conservation and development of this forest resources as well. So in this way we need finally inclusive approach, and as well as we need political prioritization, and that will helpful mainly to reduce the emissions, and finally that will helps to conserve and as well as increase our forest cover as well. So apart from that, it will also protect our rich and precious biological diversity. So this is the gist of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear now, right? And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding EWS quota. So now let us try to see some brief background. So government came up with this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act. It said that 10% of reservation for this EWS, economically weaker sections of a society quota. So recently in January, February or March 2021, what happened? Government said that we are going to take this 10% of quota for this NEET admissions, NEET counseling. Okay, then what happened? One petition which mainly filed in Supreme Court. The Supreme Court asked a question that why 8 lakh rupees as a income cap that is mainly present for identification of this whether so and so beneficiary will come under this EWS quota or not. So for this, government appointed a committee, okay, to look after this 8 lakh cap, and recently December 31st 2021 and January 1st 2022, so that committee submitted the report, said that yes, 8 lakh it is well and good. Okay, and now this thing which mainly said by this government of India into the Supreme Court. Okay, and now after hearing that, Supreme Court of India came up with this judgment. So if you see here, what is this infographic talking about? So here Supreme Court gave green light, okay, for the counseling based on this 27% of reservation for this OBS, other backward sections of category, and next one is for 10% of reservation for this economically weaker sections of society. So we're talking about some key facts regarding this. Some of the statements were given by Honorable Supreme Court here is counseling for this NEET PG 2021 and NEET UG 2021 can be conducted by granting 27% of reservation for this other backward caste. people, and 10% for this economically weaker sections, okay, in this all India quota seat. And next one is criteria to identify this EWS category, which include 8 lakh annual family income limit as prescribed in 2019 government memorandum that can be followed for a grant of quota. That means, so further in the March they are going to have discussions regarding this 8% of cap, 8 lakh of cap. And next one is final hearing on validity of this EWS criteria is scheduled for the 3rd week of March. Okay, in the 3rd week of March they are going for this final hearing of this. And court now, which mainly updates the validity of this 27% of OBC reservation and 10% of reservation of this EWS for this NEET counseling. So this is some important statement which is given by government, and final judgment or the final hearing that will be seen in the month of March. So then we are going to discuss editorials that will come in our Hindu newspaper. So if we're talking about context, it mainly says that Supreme Court allowed NEET, that is a National Eligible Cum Entrance Test for UG undergraduate level and for PG level, okay, post graduation level and undergraduation level. So counseling that is going to be happen as per this government reservation, about 10% for EWS and 27% for this other backward caste. So if you are focusing on some important details, it mainly says that court also upheld 27% of reservation for other backward classes, okay, and 10% for this economically weaker sections in all India quota seats, okay. It is according to July 29, 2021 government order. And so Supreme Court said that there will be no further debate on this, but they are going to have final hearing regarding this 8 lakh cap that is mainly scheduled in the March 2022. Okay, so this is the sum gist, and you can go for next topic. So title says NSO estimates financial year 2022 GDP growth of 9.2%. So it is talking about GDP estimates. Okay, GDP estimates. So now let us try to talk about this topic in a very great detail. Actually, this topic is important from our economy, which mainly comes under our GS paper 3. Here you need to know some facts regarding what is NSO as well, because there are high chances of getting statements regarding this NSO in your prelims. So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that India's gross domestic product. So what is the meaning of this GDP? So within a country, okay, within 1 year, so the total value of goods and services which are mainly produced, okay, total value of final goods and services which are produced within a country and within a time period, that is 1 year. So it mainly contributes the GDP of that country. So the GDP of India, it is going to be expected to grow by 9.2% in this current financial year. Okay, so if you're talking about last financial year, we saw a contraction of 7.3%, and now NSO says that we are going to have this economic growth of 9.2%. And even though we are going to have a third wave, we are having some fear that we are going to have this third wave of this COVID-19 pandemic, because there is increasing of cases that is seen not only in India but also throughout the world. And there are some variants that are mainly circulating, like France new variant and Omicron variant, right? So if you're talking about details which are given in this article, which mainly says that GDP at constant prices in year 2021-2022, it is estimated like 147.54 lakh crore, and it is against this provincial estimate of GDP of year 2020 to 2021. It is about 135.13 lakh. Okay, so that we can see there might be GDP growth of India, it is mainly 9.2%. So if you see some estimates by this NSO, because mining sector, it is also increasing its pace, and manufacturing is also seeing expanding, right? So because of all these things, we are expecting there will be the good amount of growth in this GDP. And even agriculture sector also estimated to grow at 3.9% in this financial year 2022. And even electricity, water supply and other utility services category, they are also estimated to grow here. And even construction also expected to grow by 10.7%. And even hotels and as well as transport, communication, broadcasting services, they are also going to have some growth. So if you're talking about some facts regarding this NSO NSO mainly stands for National Statistical Office. Okay, so it is National Statistical Office. So this NSO it is an agency that mainly formed on the recommendations of this Rangarajan committee. So you have to remember this Rangarajan committee for sure. And this office was set up mainly to implement and to maintain statistical standards. Okay, it is mainly focusing on statistical standards and as well as to coordinate with the statistical activities of central and as well as state government agencies. And this one is Rangarajan committee had also recommended to set up this National Statistical Office, and it is mainly headed by the person who is having a Minister of State level designation. So if we're talking about this NSO it was mainly formed by merging this National Sample Survey Office and as well as CSO, that is Central Statistical Office, and this mainly comes under MOSPI, that is a Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. It is regarding this FCRA. FCRA, not for missionaries of charity, restored. So if you see background of this article, in October 2021, government said that they can go for renewal of their FCRA licenses. Okay, FCRA registration, they need to go for registration. But what happened by December 30, okay, last week of December, so we saw that so number of institutions, number of organizations, number of NGOs, they are not gave this renewal of this FCRA, right? Because so those organizations which are not in accordance with this recent amendments to this FCRA Act of 2020. So later on in December, government came up with a statement that it mainly extended the time for 3 months. So now this article says that, for example, for Ramakrishna Mutt and as well as missionaries of charity of this Mother Teresa, they mainly got not. So now let us try to see, this is also one development regarding this FCRA Act, which is mainly seen in news from last 4 to 5 days. So if we are talking about context, it mainly says that the Ministry of Home Affairs restored this FCRA registration of missionaries of charity. It is a Catholic religious congregation which mainly set up by Mother Teresa. So the contribution, this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act registration is mandatory to receive this foreign donations. Okay, so if you see context, it mainly says that the Ministry of Home Affairs on Friday restored this FCRA registration of missionaries of charity. Okay, so earlier this missionaries of charity which mainly denied this FCRA renewal, and now it got this renewal, right? So if you see some details, it mainly says that so this move which mainly comes just days after ministry issued a statement that FCRA registration of MOC was not renewed as some adverse input were noticed. So because of some inputs which are not in accordance with this recent amendments of 2020, so we cannot renew this missionaries of charities FCRA registration. So this is the thing which mainly said by Government of India, and this registration was renewed, making this missionaries of charity now eligible to receive and to utilize foreign funds in its bank accounts, even as the UK Parliament debated this issue. So not only in India but even UK Parliament also debated this issue regarding this MOC, and now it is seeking that British government had raised with India issue regarding this blocking of this overseas funds of this missionaries of charity and other non-governmental organizations. So now here missionaries of charity was removed from the list of around 6,000 NGOs whose registration has been ceased to exist. So this is the gist of this topic, and I hope it is clear. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says India-China military talks likely on January 12th. So already you know that India, which is sharing boundary with China. So in this western sector, in this central sector, in this eastern sector, we are facing some issues with China. So regarding this western sector, we have this line of actual control. So where we have some issues, right? So since May 2020 onwards, we are seeing military standoff that is happening across this LAC region. So now here we went for a number of levels of rounds of talks between India and China, but there is no output regarding complete disengagement or maintaining of status quo. So now we are going to have India-China military talks on January 12th. So this is the article, and after this talks, what is the outcome? Again, the articles will be coming. So we are going to discuss that. So if you see context, it mainly says that India and China, they are going to set to hold 14th round of this Corps Commander level talks on January 12th. So on January 12th, we are having this 14th round of Corps Commander level talks, and when they will attempt to take some forward and some installed process of disengagement and de-escalation in this Eastern Ladakh. So in this Eastern Ladakh region, they are mainly going to talk about disengagement and as well as de-escalation in this region. So here if you see some details, it mainly says that the next round of senior military talks, they are scheduled to be held on this January 12th. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly confirmed by the both the sides, that is from Indian side and as well as Chinese side. And this 13th round of talks which are held recently in this October 2021, which mainly ended in a stalemate. So now we are going to see what will be the outcome of this 14th level talks. Okay, so now let us move on to next topic. It is regarding rampant poaching in Odisha indicates massive network in operation. So this article mainly talking about poaching of animal products. So here you need to talk about WWF and as well as traffic. So these are two important things that you need to remember regarding this poaching. So now let us try to see article and let us try to find out some important details which are given in this article, which are relevant from our UPSC point of view. So first of all, you need to know context. So context here is Special Task Force. Okay, the Special Task Force of Odisha Police Crime Branch, they mainly seized about 4 leopard skins in past 10 days. And if you are seeing from 2020, there are about 25 leopard skins they were seized. Okay, so 4 leopard skins were seized and as well as 25 leopard skins they were seized from 2020 onwards. So if you see some details, it mainly says that so there were some operations which are mainly done by this STF, that is Special Task Force, and they indicate that there are multiple big networks of wildlife law offenders. They are mainly operating in the state forest. So in the state's forest, we are having multiple big networks of this wild law offenders mainly seen here. So if state forest and environment department seizures, they are taken into account, the number of leopards killed and the average number of leopards were poached would be significantly higher. So if you are taken into account the state forest environment department data, so it mainly says that the number of leopards were killed and as well as the average number of these leopards were poached, so the number will be very higher. And according to the Special Task Force, they mainly says that so wildlife criminals and poachers was launched, okay, special drive of this Special Task Force which mainly came up and launched in year 2020. So apart from these 25 leopard skins, so the agency also seized about 13 elephant tusks, 7 deer skins, 9 live pangolins and more than 16 kgs of this pangolin scales, and they also arrested 55 persons on charges of these crimes against wildlife as well. Okay, so here in this special drive of this Special Task Force, they found 25 leopard skin and they also seized 13 elephant tusks and 7 deer skins, 9 live pangolins as well. So regarding these pangolins, they are having much demand in this Chinese international market. Okay, so already we discussed about some facts regarding these pangolins, so you have to revise them. And now let us try to talk about some organizations which are present, which are mainly focusing against this poaching. So first one is Traffic. Traffic is one of the lead wildlife trade monitoring network and as well as one non-governmental organization, and this Traffic which is mainly working globally regarding trade in wild animals and plants in the context of both biodiversity conservation as well as sustainable development. So this Traffic which mainly focused on this biodiversity conservation and as well as sustainable development, right? And here this Traffic, it is one of the leading trade monitoring network and as well as non-governmental organization as well. So if you're talking about Traffic which mainly came up with some joint program regarding World Wildlife Fund and as well as IUCN, International Conservation of Nature, and it mainly created in 1976, and where this important focused areas. So important focus areas of this Traffic, they include leveraging resources, they include some expertise and awareness of the latest global urgent species, and it mainly focus on this tiger parts, elephant ivory and as well as rhino horns, etc. So this is about this Traffic. And now let us try to talk about this WWF, that is World Wildlife Fund. So if you're talking about this World Wildlife Fund, so it is one of the world's leading conservation organization, and it mainly works in more than 100 countries. Okay, it is mainly working in more than 100 countries. And here this WWF, which mainly established in 1961, and it mainly headquartered in this Switzerland. So this mission, it is to conserve nature and to reduce the most pressing threats to this diversity of life on the earth. And this one is this WWF mainly collaborates at every level with people around the world to develop and to deliver innovative solutions. Okay, so it is mainly focusing on developing and as well as delivering some innovative solutions that will help to mainly protect communities, wildlife, and as well as places. Okay, so these are the some important facts that you need to remember regarding this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. So before seeing this topic, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear this UPSC, I will strongly suggest you to join this prelims test series and as well as mains answer writing course which we are offering in this Rathod's IAS. So in this prelims test series, we are providing you 30 tests. So in this 30 test, we are giving tests regarding your CSAT and as well as your GS. So these are the tests which are very much helpful, especially to know where you stand and as well as whether you are going in a right direction or not. It will be helpful for analyzing your preparation. And if you're talking about this mains answer writing course, as you all know, if you want to clear this UPSC, you need to get good marks in this mains. So as you all know, the writing of mains is a one important challenge because within these 3 hours of time you need to answer 20 to 22 questions, so that you will be having just 7 to 7.5 minutes to write one question. So now you can imagine within this 7 to 7.5 minutes you need to read question at least twice, and you have to understand the demand of question, and you need to recall the matter that which is present in your brain, and finally you have to write this answer. So for this you need extensive practice. So here to excel this mains answer, okay, to excel this mains and to get good marks in your mains, so we are having a year-long program, that is mains answer writing course. And in this course we will be giving you micro listing of topics and weekly targets. So based on that, daily one question is given, and on Sunday there will be essay and case study. Okay, case study practice. So in this course you are going to write more than 300 plus questions, and as well as you are going to write 27 essays and 26 case studies. So if you've gone through your yesterday's essay paper, you might be knowing that we can't predict UPSC. So normally in section A there will be the essays from your current affairs and as well as society and from your GS part. But this year in section A and section B, 8 essays are based on your philosophical essays. So only one essay that is regarding, I think, artificial intelligence or technology. So apart from that, all essays are based on your philosophical essays. So you need to prepare well on these philosophical essays, and many students, they faced much problem writing these essays. So don't take this course as a very light. This will be very, very useful, especially if you want to crack this UPSC, you have to join this type of course. Okay, and this course is exclusively beneficial, and this January batch admissions are going to be ended by this January 10th. So if you want to join actually, so please be hurry up and try to join this mains answer writing course. And apart from this, we also have this foundational course, okay, for your GS, and we are providing about more than 700 hours of this recorded lectures, and we are focusing on this conceptual clarity. So you can't see this much conceptual clarity anywhere in offline or any online coaching. Okay, and one more thing here is, if you want to take some individual courses like economy, history, geography, disaster management, and as well as environment and ecology, science and technology, so these are ready as of now. You can take these courses. So the details of this course are given in description box, so please see that once. And if you want to download app of Rathod's IAS, so link is given in description box, so you can download this app as well. It is Android app. Okay, so now let's come back and let us see next topic. Before that, if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. I'm the academic director of this Rathod's IAS, and you can feel free to talk with me regarding your queries regarding these courses, right? And now let's come back and let us see this topic. It is regarding India to surpass Japan as Asia's second largest economy by 2030. By 2030, India, it is going to surpass, that is, it is going to beat this China in economy. So this article is important from your GS paper 3 under economy. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that India is likely to overcome Japan as Asia's second largest economy. So India is going to overtake Japan as Asia's second largest economy by 2030. By 2030, India is going to surpass Asia's second largest economy by 2030, when its GDP is also projected to surpass that of Germany and the UK to rank as world's number 3. It is according to this IHS Markit report. IHS Markit report said that India is going to beat this Japan by 2030, and it is also going to surpass Germany and as well as UK as well. Okay, so if you see some details, it mainly says that currently India, it is the 6th largest economy. Okay, currently India is the 6th largest economy in the world. So first one is US, second one is China, third one is Japan, fourth one is Germany, and fifth one is UK, and sixth one is India. So if you're talking about India's nominal GDP, so India's nominal GDP forecast, which is going to be rise from $2.7 trillion in 2021 to $8.4 trillion by 2030. So it is according to this IHS Markit report. So we are going to see some rapid pace of economic expansion. So that can be seen in this India's GDP. Okay, so because of this, India's GDP is going to exceed Japanese GDP by 2030, and India will become the second largest economy in Asia Pacific region as well. And by 2030, India's economy, it would be larger in size than compared to that of the largest Western Europe economies, for example Germany, France and UK. So if we are talking about even some European countries like Germany, France and UK, so India, it is going to surpass those as well. So if we're talking about some important reasons for increasing or expanding of our Indian economy, it is because of fast growing of middle class. So whenever the middle class people are emerging, means that will also leads to increasing of consumer spending. Okay, and country's consumer expenditure or consumption expenditure will be going to be rise. So this report says that country's consumption expenditure, that will going to double from $1.5 trillion in 2020 to $3 trillion, that is almost double by 2030. And even there is also growing of consumer market that is seen in different sectors, for example manufacturing, infrastructure and even services. So because of all these things, India is going to surpass Japan by 2030. So this is just of this topic. So by this I am concluding. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy, and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to these courses. So details are given in description box. So if you want to watch demo videos, you can visit our website Rathod's IAS Academy. There you can watch 3 demo videos without paying a single penny. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.